Yes, 100%. It gives you like a direction. It gives you something to strive towards, moral standard as well. Because ultimately, as I said, if you can put your faith in anything, then no one, as a collective, we don't have something to stand on, which then makes lots of confusion, lots of dysfunction. And I think faith is incredibly important for allowing a sense of unity, a mark that everyone can kind of reach for, which collectively is very helpful. And on an individual level, I think your answer touches a bit more on the individual side of it.
Yeah. So for me, we were discussing this before, but faith, it sounds a bit weird, but faith is like a byproduct for me, in the quest for searching for the truth. Because for me, I think it's important in life to know what the truth is. And I think there's only one truth for like our existence, our being, what we're doing here, where we're going. And when you start to look for that truth, you are led to faith. Because when you discover, okay, why are we here? What are we doing? Where are we going? For me, the answer was God. And when you find God, you are obviously in faith.
Yeah.
So it's important because the truth is important. And I think when you don't have the truth, you are in turmoil with yourself. So to have like a peaceful relationship with your mind, yourself, your heart, it's important to know what the truth is. I think without the truth, you're in turmoil. And when you seek the truth, you find God and you find faith. So that's why it's important.
And just to be explicit, our faith is in Jesus Christ of the Bible. Just to be very clear. Because, and again, it's a difficult topic as well, because sometimes, obviously, in the world we live in, it's we don't like to think of truth as a single.
A single answer. It could be like many truths.
Many truths.
There's truth in everything.
Yeah. So, again, respect to everyone, but the one and only true God is the God of the Bible. Amen. So I think ultimately the answer to that for us would be that, but our faith is in Jesus Christ. So I think it'd be interesting to know other people's opinions on why faith is important. So we'd love to have the discussion and to know more.
But it's what you were saying, Hannah. So faith is important because when you seek the truth, you find clarity, and ultimately it leads you to faith. But again, without those things, it's what you were saying, that there's nothing then that grounds you or gives you morals or gives you a way of life unless you have faith. And I think another layer to that is life keeps on happening, doesn't it?
Yes.
Whether it's good or bad, life continues to happen. And if you happen to be on the side of the bad, it can be painful. And when you don't have faith, it's really difficult to navigate all those feelings or the whys of life. And when you have found faith, it's just liberating. It's freeing, because there is answers to things. And
even if there's not, you have an anchor.
There's an anchoring. I think because life will carry on if that won't stop. So then you can get consumed in the day-to-day, like go to work or relationships or I don't know, finances or whatever, or you can get so consumed in that. But actually, faith allows you to step back, look at the bigger picture, and I don't find anything so consuming then.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's that thing of needing something bigger than you, something that you can look to and not have to solely depend on yourself for figuring things out or to know more or to know better and stuff. I guess faith allows you to lean and be dependent on something other than yourself, which is a huge comfort in life, like what you were saying.
Yeah, that's it.
And many other reasons why faith is so important, actually.
I think when you look at the Christian perspective, it's obvious, isn't it? Faith is important because we believe in God, and we believe in Jesus, and we believe in his life and death and the plan for salvation. So that is our answer. Like, that's why faith is important. But when you even just look at, I guess, if you weren't Christian or if you were just coming to faith, why is finding God important?
Yes.
For me, the answer would be because there is a truth. It's almost like the Matrix. What is the truth? And there is only one.
What is reality?
What is reality? And when you go towards that,
And I think that leads to the very point as well, that faith is important because we are spiritual beings, like whether we like to accept that or not, but ultimately we are, like, and that is the reality of the situation. Like, unless we accept that, then it's not. Existence is very superficial, I think.
This is it.
So I just had a thought and it's gone out of my mind. It was what you were speaking, but the seeking is so necessary. So I think one of the questions we wanted to discuss or like kind of touch on was why do we think it's so important to seek God or to seek faith? I think in a world that's so busy and we have so many, occupations, is that a word? We're so preoccupied with other things that sometimes we put God or the need to know the truth of, what we believe to one side because we don't have time or we don't have the capacity, the energy, whatever it may be. But how it's so important, that's one thing that we wanted to discuss because it's incredibly important because it can absolutely transform your life. Like where you think you don't have enough time, you now believe in someone who is creator of time. So the perspective changes. So seeking God is so important. And not putting it as like an afterthought.
But ultimately, again, it's not like a deep answer, but ultimately, what is the truth? And if you so find that actually the truth is that God exists, then I feel like if you know that, and if that is in fact factual for you, then it's important.
It's very important.
Like God exists. So what would we do with that? Whereas I think it is, sometimes it can be seen as convenient to kind of numb that idea or that thought so that you can crack on with, jobs and being parents or having, I don't know, a passion or whatever. But ultimately, you're just numbing something that exists. So if for you have discovered that is your truth, it's the most important thing to then give time to and efforts to.
Yeah, absolutely. And also not just numbing. I feel like if that should be a priority, because once you make that a priority, everything else will 10x. Like things will just make more sense. You'll be able to do more. Like the things that you're trying to do in your own strength will be multiplied. It'll be a lot more purposeful. And hence why seeking, and also again, this is a bit dark, but you just don't know when, what happens in life and stuff. So let's not forget that. It's important to know where you're going or where your loved ones are going for that matter as well. So incredibly important to seek God and make that a top priority. Even after you know who he is, but even more so if you're still playing around with the idea of thinking God is real or God exists, but you don't really know who or what.
Which is perfectly...
Because there's answers there.
Which is perfectly bringing us to the next thing that we want to discuss, like why should everyone seek God or the truth or seek faith?
I guess it overlaps with the answers or like the thoughts that we have, but I think more than ever we need that as a collective, like for more people to be, for revival basically is the word. The revival is so necessary because we're seeing how ideologies are becoming very mutated and lots of scary things really,
lots of ideas.
And more than ever we need the truth, and we need us in order to have a society where we feel safe for our kids to grow up in, like where we feel safe and where we feel safe bringing kids up and stuff, and like the future of the world. Like we are so many people are so serious about, like, global warming or like all these bigger things, but this is a matter of like obviously your faith and your spirit and your soul and all of those things. So more than ever, I think we all need to.
Yeah, completely. I think that now more than ever before, there's an abundance of ideas. No idea is almost not debatable. Like everything, you can bring anything to the table, and I think when that's the case, I think you need to navigate through all the ideas to get to the core truth. And that's why I think it's important for people to seek faith, because I think when you are up for all of these ideas, you are also up for anyone, questioning your values or your belief systems, and that can easily crumble. So I think to find the truth for yourself that you are steadfast in is really important, because without that, you are up for
anything.
You're up for anything, and before you know it, you can crumble.
Society will crumble. Like if things,
it will.
Like I think people do study like the trends and stuff like that, and it's very it's a well studied thing, the rise and fall of certain civilizations.
Systems, unless you have
A
core
sense
principles that are steadfast and you can
foundational.
you can ground yourself on, you can easily crumble. And I think when people are without faith, I think this is speaking from experience, when you are without faith, you are up for a lot of scrutiny, you are up for a lot of targets almost, and in a weak moment it can crumble you. So I think it is a priority, like, for your, again, to live peacefully with yourself, your thoughts, your heart. It's good to know what you believe in, and stand firm on it. And also, it's just nice. It's nice to know who you are, where you belong, where you're going. It's
Why
really
you're
nice.
here.
Why you're here. It's really nice. It's really freeing. It feels very secure.
Yes.
And actually, the fear element, I think, from life
diminishes.
To a very large
as much
extent,
as you allow it to.
To a very large extent, you don't live fearfully.
Yeah.
You're not fearful of like the future. You're not fearful of certain outcomes. You feel very equipped, I would say. Very.
Yeah. Because you can go somewhere even when you're feeling those things. You have someone or some,
God.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but not a thing. God is real. You have him to turn to, and you can always kind of surrender that, and things will just automatically, in their own time, in God's time, make sense.
What would you say would be your 3 top things for anyone that is exploring the idea of faith? What would be the 3 top things you would say to them if they were, seeking or thinking about faith? What should they do as the first thing?
Well, that's a good question. That is a good question. Pray.
I think prayer actually is such a good answer, because when I was, in my time of seeking and I didn't know exactly what I believed in, I think I never stopped praying. I wasn't really sure whom I was praying to, but I never stopped, because I've always believed in a greater being, and I know that there is a God, the orchestrator, or the the creator of everything, and to that God I never stopped praying. I just didn't know who.
Yeah.
But you can always pray.
I think that would be a number one thing, because I think, obviously, I imagine most people, if we think God is all powerful and God is a good God, then automatically, like us reaching out to him in prayer is just a conversation. You have to believe gate.
Yeah.
If God is, I just
gate. No, I pay a lot.
Urdu. So.
Yeah, so pray, and he's a good God. And
yeah. That's like a, like foolproof method.
Honestly, it sounds really cliche and really like textbooky, but I think prayer
would be top. I think
the top.
Yeah.
Top.
I think also reflecting on, unless you had one. I think secondly would be to make sure you're actively reflecting and making sure your heart's open.
Yeah.
You know, like you
Yes.
really have to be wanting to be
An open heart
corrected.
is a big one.
Yes.
Because I think you
Yeah.
can be praying and you can be seeking, but you have all these preconceived notions, or you have all these ideas that you come with that build walls.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is very much from experience, because well, I really questioned the Trinity, didn't I? I already decided that can't be a thing, which I think prolonged my discovery. Whereas if I had an open, because if God is all doing, he can do all. So I think when you let your guards down and you have an open heart, and you are actually welcoming of the truth.
Yes, I agree.
I think that's a really good one, actually.
Yeah, but it's a hard one because you don't always know that you have that, like in certain ways, I think. Do you think, like in your experience, you kind of knew that maybe there was a bit of hard-heartedness there? Or do you think it was retrospectively you can look back and see? Did you know it in the moment, do you think?
What I did know is that maybe I might have an element of pride. So whether even it comes from like pride of the knowledge that I have, but then pride is quite a restricting element in itself, isn't it? But I wouldn't say I knew that at the time, but what I did know is I can be quite proud in the sense that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I was conscious of that, and I did have to let go of that a little bit.
Yeah, so you were somewhat aware.
Yeah, so I would say I wasn't aware of the hard-heartedness, but I was aware of pride, which I think
it connects, right? Yeah, I think like once you actually do believe, it's easier to identify certain things because you can put a lot of things down to obedience. Like even when you read it in the Bible and you're like, well, if it's saying that, I believe it, and that's just I have to. Obedience allows you to. It's like a I don't know what the word would be, but it's obedience just allows you to look past certain things, and even if you have a hard heart towards them because you align yourself with the word, but when you don't have full faith in knowing or believing in the word, then it's a bit harder, I think, because you can't get away with the obedience thing instead.
So prayer and an open heart.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe I don't know, counsel is interesting, isn't it? Even though you would counsel.
Counsel.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's not my answer, but I'm just gonna.
I think counsel is definitely way up there because, again, from experience, that's what I did. I like reach out to someone.
It's a tricky one, though, right?
Yeah, but I think reach out to. For me, I think it would be prayer, having an open heart, and honestly reading the Bible. I think.
Yeah, I think if obviously, but it's a hard one because obviously if you don't necessarily believe that you believe in Jesus,
listen to this and read the Bible.
Please read the Bible. But if if you're someone who's in a situation where you're exploring different faiths, then where do you start there? Unless we're specifically read your Bible.
Yeah. I think there is a bit of a miracle in that. I think.
Yeah, without sounding judgmental, but I feel like a lot of the times, actually, to be fair, I'm not going to say this because it's not always true. Because oftentimes we dismiss Christianity without even just reading the Bible once. I've been guilty of that, certain things where I've thought a certain way, but actually I've just not been in my word enough to know the truth.
Yeah.
So how can you claim to be,
It's happened a lot, hasn't it? Like you can have a thought or a notion or an idea about how you feel about tithing, and then actually you read the Bible and it really in changes your opinion.
Yes, it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, lots of things like that. But simply reading the Bible without
for faith purposes.
I would say my top 3 would be prayer, keeping an open heart, and just pick up a Bible. Just that. And then obviously there's lots of other things. Counsel's definitely a big one. Going to a good church is a big one. Speaking to, because again, I just
having core questions, maybe.
Yeah, exactly what your questions are. Because if you're on a quest, then that gives you direction, and the answer to your questions will lead you on to the next step.
Because otherwise, there's so many different topics or different kind of.
It's like with any research, isn't it? You have to identify your core pillars.
Yes.
And give them a conclusion, and then move on to the next. But with any research, it can't be 10 different topics.
Yeah.
Right?
So maybe what are some of the questions that you could have?
For me personally, it was do I believe? I already believed in God, because I think for me,
Yes, and not
for me, I simply didn't believe that we happened to exist. I think for me, I always knew we were created, and then
that's a big question to get straight. Yeah, for
so
sure.
maybe that's one. Do you or do you not believe in God? And that's something to address. And then it was, if so, then what?
I think most people have already. That's the kind of place where most people start, right?
Yeah.
Like either you're agnostic, you're atheist, or you're you believe.
Yeah. And then once you've decided on that, whether there is a God or not, you then move on to, well, who is God? And for me, God had to be one deity, like one being. And so for me, that narrowed down which faiths offer one God.
Yeah.
Because for me, for God to be all powerful, he had to be a single deity.
Do you have an idea of why you, from that perspective, had the idea that it had to be one? Why do you have that, or is that just something that you had already kind of related to or believed? Or did you have some sort of thought process that led you to, it can't be multiple, it has to be one deity? You don't have to answer
Maybe
this if you just knew, you just felt convicted from the start.
The honest answer is, I think I just knew.
Yeah.
The honest answer is, in my being, I think my being was settled with the idea of God being one. And my being would not accept that there's like multiple.
Yeah.
There's either a multiple or like we are all gods, or I don't know.
Like, no, we're not going to tread in certain places, because that's just not our experience or something that we've kind of.
Yeah, I just for me, God had to be an all powerful.
Yeah. I think sometimes you're born, or like you just have.
Also, because I was raised as a Christian, so that's something that was very much so part of my life, but also very much so that that it
was a knowing. Yeah, I think sometimes again in faith, like you do
have knowings,
and you don't have to necessarily,
not each thing has like a journey, or some things were just so. And that was one thing. Although when I was thinking, okay, who is the one true God, I was like, yeah, he has to be one, and he has to be all powerful, and he has to be good. He has to be a good God.
Yeah.
And so there were, that narrowed down where I was looking. And then for me, it led, like, the prayer never stopped. A lot of like online researches, lots of videos. I wouldn't say good counsel. I think good counsel came to me at the very last, but I so wish it was much earlier on. But like, I didn't want to discuss how I was feeling about faith with a lot of people, so it was quite internal and private for a really long time.
Maybe that could be another answer. So I mean, this video is getting a bit long, I think, now.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap up.
But yeah, I think that would be a good one as well, to let go of the emotion of
just deal with it more, what's the word,
boldly, head on,
just a bit head on, because I mean,
what have you got to lose besides yourself?
But it's just long, isn't it? When you deal with it yourself, it's a longer quest. Whereas if you bring people on board, there's like, they always say 2 heads are better than one.
Yes.
There's lots of ideas. It really helps you narrow down how you're thinking, how you're feeling. Whereas if you're just doing it by yourself and with yourself, I don't think it's very streamlined, and there's no new ideas flowing in. You're just battling with your thoughts, but you're not being fed into, nor can you share.
Like it says, faith grows through hearing.
Yeah. So I think, speak. I just think speak to people, because I think it generates a lot of new thoughts, and it can help you
break through strongholds, or some sort of like limits that you've set.
But also for the purpose of this like chat, I really just think, just walk into a church and just, I really think it'll help.
Yeah, with an open heart, and but faith is very important, and it's definitely to be prioritized in every way.
Yes, and I think there's just a lot of peace and security and goodness. But I think peace overall is a big thing that comes out of just knowing what 100%. You believe, and just having faith. So well done for recording this first one.
Whoop, whoop.
See you very
See you
soon.
guys next time. Oh my god, I just did that.